Okay, good evening, or good morning, or good afternoon to everyone. I understand that you are about to finish this course, BF P2206. This activity will enable you know, in addition to knowing now how the feed mill is, what the feed mill is all about, and what the feed mill entails, the different opportunities in the feed industry, what people are doing, the errors. You had a very good presentation on Saturday about the different ways how feed mills are looking at things. Now, today I would like to take you through a very simple calculation about the feed mill capacity. Some of you are in feed mills that are very busy the whole day. Very busy. Sometimes they are busy on Saturdays only. Sometimes the clients come in almost equal every day. So we are looking at one thing now. How is that feed mill operating? Is it managing really to serve all those clients? If it is selling complete feed, is it really producing all of it? So that question, the answer to it is what we call feed mill capacity. Capacity. So capacity of a feed mill, in a simple definition, is amount of feed produced per hour. Mark that. It is the amount of feed produced per hour. But its unit is in tons. So, an example is, supposing a feed mill produces 2 tons of feed per hour, then its capacity will be 2 tons per hour. So it means that capacity is ton per hour, not kilograms per hour, not grams per hour, but tons per hour or tonnage per hour. So that's what we call a feed mill capacity. And there are many things that affect feed mill capacity. One of them is the efficiency of a feed mill. What is efficiency of a feed mill? Efficiency literally means to what level is the system performing the way it is supposed to perform. Supposing the system is able to perform and produce, let us say, 3 tons. An example is a grinder is designed to grind 1 ton or 2 tons of ingredients per hour. Are people really enabling it to grind exactly 2 tons as it is designed? Or they delay? Sometimes delays come in by the laissez-faire of feeding the feed mill, the laissez-faire of emptying, the laissez-faire of carrying bags, and then you find the grinder or the hammer mill is running empty, and it keeps changing sound. When it is running, when it is grinding and the substance, the sound is a bit silent. And when it is empty, it makes a lot of noise. And then you realize that maybe in an hour, the team of people at the grinder have only been able to grind. Let us say they have been able to grind maybe I would say 1 ton in an hour, and yet the capacity of that grinder is 2 tons per hour. So it means that grinder is not efficient enough. Why is it not efficient? It's not the speed, it is not the power, it is the people using it. So if you say they have grinded 1 ton over 2, it means that the efficiency is 0.5 out of 1. Or if you want to combine to state it in percentage, you multiply by 100. So you know that your efficiency is 50%. So such a grinder as a key component may result into what we call the efficiency of a feed mill. So efficiency is one of the factors that affect the capacity of a feed mill. I would call it number 1. Number 2, you've seen that in this definition of capacity, there is hour. That one automatically tells you that number 2 is time. Time. Time is very important to talk about. It's a factor. How is time a factor? I would say that assuming you are producing, let us say, 10 tons, and those 10 tons you produce them in 20 hours. This means that the efficiency will be, the capacity will be 10 divided by 20, and so you will get 1 out of 2 tons per hour, which is equivalent to 0.5 tons per hour. So you can see that time is very important. And so you can never take away time from efficiency. You can't. Time is very key. From capacity, time is very key. So a combination of efficiency and the time determines the capacity. The other example that we gave of the grinder is number 3 is the technology you are using. You should know that the efficiency of a feed mill is dependent on the efficiency of the technologies involved. The efficiency of the grinder, the efficiency of the mixer, the efficiency of the transport mechanism determines the overall efficiency of the feed mill. The capacity of the technology, the capacity of the grinder, the capacity of the transport system determines the capacity of the entire feed mill. So technology is also important in capacity. It's a factor. So when you are looking at, for instance, the capacity of a given feed mill, for instance, you are looking at a feed mill that is supposed to give 2 tons or 3 tons per hour as its capacity. That one automatically means that your technology should be higher, because you have to factor in what we call human laissez-faire. Human is affected the efficiency. So in that way, the technology used, the more automated the system, the more efficient the system is, and the higher the capacity of that feed mill. But because most cases, like in Africa, we have very rudimentary technologies, everything is manual and manual and manual. For you sometimes to catch up with good efficiency, you sometimes have to take a risk and buy very big and expensive technologies. Big grinder. You find feed mills with grinders that have capacity of 5 tons per hour, but they only use it to produce 2 tons. Because the one who was setting up that feed mill, I think, just realized and said, you better have a higher capacity technology to enable you achieve the minimum capacity you want. So a combination of capacities of the different technologies in your feed mill can limit. And sometimes certain capacities, certain technologies are limiting factors. You may find that a mixer is key, because unless it is empty, it cannot allow you to go to another step. You can't feed it when it is having other ingredients in. So you must empty it. So sometimes in terms of what we call mixed grinding, you can't empty it. But in single grind, in both single and mixed grinding, you can't avoid a mixer. You can't skip it. You can't. If it is taking an hour, it will always take an hour. So that is important, the technology. It affects the capacity. And we will learn later that there are ways you can improve the technology or improve the capacity of a feed mill. For instance, changing the way you design your flow plan. We'll learn that in the coming course, in the processing and production. You will learn about the flow diagram, flow chart. So mark this. Mark this. So that's very, very, very important. So I really encourage you that if one time you are into setting up a feed mill, pay attention to the technologies. The technologies. They will help you a lot in determining the capacity of a feed mill. So, how do you calculate the capacity of a feed mill? Because this you have to do in your assignment. In activity 15, you will have to do this kind of calculation. But I want to give you an example. Assuming you have a feed mill. That feed mill works for 6 weeks. in a year. And every week it does 6 weeks. No, not 6 weeks. Sorry. 50 weeks. Works for 50 weeks in a year. And every week it works for 6 days in a week. You get me? And then that feed me every day. Daily production is we'll say is 12 tons of feed. So, and here comes the question. 2 questions. 2 what? Questions. The first question is, what is its capacity? The second question is its annual production. Now, which of these 2 would you start with if I gave you such a question? Which of the 2 would you start with? So I would start with this. And I would say annual feed production is a function of week times days times production per day. So this one means that annual production is 50 times 6 days times 12 tons equals if you multiply this 50 times 60, I have here my calculator. It gives me, if it is, I know some of you have got already. It is 50 times 6 times 12. So you get 3,600 tons of feed. This is per year. So that is the production per year. Now to determine the capacity, if you go back here, we have weeks, we have days, we have daily production. But we know that capacity is quantity produced per hour. So what is missing? What is missing is the working hours per day. So if your question does not have working hours per day, then you are stuck. You can't determine capacity. It shows you how time is very important. So there we say assuming working hours per day of 8. That's the common time of working. Don't assume if it is given in the question. Use what is given. Now, it means that capacity will be given by 3,600 tons divided by 8 hours of work in a day, meaning that the answer we get here divide by 8 which is here. Actually, it's not that. It will be given by 12 divided by 8, because the other one we got per year. But now we already have 12 tons of feed per day. That's daily production. So we don't need to go into that long formula. So it means that we shall get 12 divided by 8, which gives us 1.5 tons. So meaning that our capacity of that feed mill will be 1.5 tons per hour. So if I asked you another question and said, if that feed mill was designed to produce 2 tons per hour, that's how it is designed, what is the efficiency of the feed mill? Now you will see that efficiency of a feed mill will be given by the capacity in real over capacity intended times 100. So it will be given by 1.5 divided by 2 times 100. And when you multiply and get that answer, the 1.5 divided by 2 will give you 75%. So that is the capacity of that feed mill. So this is one of the examples of the different feed mills that are common in Uganda. I know it's not good math. It's not easy. But I would want you now to try and calculate the capacity. In assignment 15, activity 15, you are given an example of a farmer, a layer farmer. And this time we have given you birds, number of birds. We have also given you the quantity fed per day. We have also given you, that is per bird per day. And we are asking you to calculate a few things. One, the feed needed by the farm per day. The feed needed by the farm per week. The feed needed by the farm per month. And the feed needed by the farm per year. Assume that the month is 30 days. Just assume that. That will be enough. If you assume that the month is 30 days, it is okay. And also, we have given you the capacity. So the capacity of the feed mill, if it operates for 6 days a week and for 8 hours a day at 85% efficiency, what would be the capacity of the feed mill? So you will practice using that. I know it's not easy. It's challenging. And I won't really do much here on this paper because I want you to learn on your own, practice, know when you need capacity, know when you need to use the hours, know when you need efficiency, not every time that you need efficiency. So this efficiency becomes your yardstick to really estimate how much you can produce. You can increase the capacity of a feed mill by increasing the number of hours of work. The days you can't stretch, maybe if you increase the production of a feed mill by increasing the number of hours, because the capacity won't change. Whether you've worked for 1 hour or 80 hours or 100 hours, or 24 hours a day, it remains the same, but you can change the annual production. It can change. You can change the weekly production. That's where Chinese, Indians beat us. They rely on capacity. And when your capacity, they rely on production and very efficiency and time of work and number of days to increase the annual production. And in that way, the costs go low because the fixed costs of the year will have gone low per unit, because as for you are closing at 8 hours, for instance, you start at 8 in the morning and stop at, let us say, 4 in the evening. You have worked for only 8 hours. For them, they will triple that. If they work for 24 hours, they have used the same depreciation, the same maintenance cost, the same certain things, the same rent, everything. So you see them selling their feed at a very cheaper price because they are maximizing the working hours, the working days, and the efficiency. I've ever gone to a feed mill in the Netherlands which only rests for 6 hours in a week. They stop the feed mill at midnight of Saturday and rest it for 6 hours. So there they are maintaining, they are doing, so 6 a.m. in the morning of Sunday, they start operating. Then another one would stop at midnight, at 6 p.m. in the evening on Sunday, rest a bit, and exactly Monday, 1 a.m. 00. In the night, they start and resume working. So it is important to know that you play around with time, you play around with days to improve on the production per day, but you can never trick capacity. The only thing that can influence capacity to change is efficiency or your technology. Thank you very much. I would like to wish you a good learning practice. You can read more books about capacity, calculating capacity of a feed mill. But this example, I think, was clear for you to follow and learn. Thank you. Bye.